How you doing, y'all? Welcome to Confidence, episode 111, Make a Wish, Angel Numbers. Hope you're feeling good. Last podcast of the year. Wow. What a fucking year, really. I appreciate anybody that listens to the show. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, do we have a really good last episode of the year? So next week we are going to be skipping a week. So just FYI, this will be, like I said, the last one until the 5th of January. So let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy it. It's the holidays. It's a vibe. I got 3 major topics that I want to go over today. And honestly, 2 of them, I'm going to start off with a very long story. You know how I usually say long story short? It's nope. We are going to take you through a story of inside the mind of me. And then we're going to talk about a story in which I was hanging out with my 3 guy friends, or so it's 3 of us, 2 guy friends. And we're going to talk about the man's perspective on relationships. I'm going to give you guys the inside scoop. We were all smoking in the car after football, and one of my friends just got engaged. And so we're going to talk about like his engagement, his thought process around him getting engaged. We were talking about me and I don't know if it's even struggling with commitment, but not being in commitment. And then I have the other guy in the backseat who's in a relationship where I don't know if there's really a lot of vulnerability. So you guys are going to hear all different sides of like different man's perspectives inside relationships. I'm going to give you the inside scoop. And then we're going to get to the big question this week, which is I'm single, I'm healed, and now I just like don't want to date. So I'm going to bring up the question again when we get to that point, but it's all going to flow really fucking nicely. Let's jump right into it because this is going to be, I think, a really great episode, especially to end the year. So let's get after it. All right. So we're going to start with this. So here's the premise that I want to discuss, which is the difference between perfectionism and avoidance and high standards, versus love being imperfect and being able to have grace for the people that you date, and the possibility of running away from good partners as an avoidant person. So last week on the podcast, at the end of the podcast, I was talking about how for me in particular, something that I need to do is I need to hold a boundary with these girls in my life that when I know in my body that something is off, to actually stop it, right? I saw, I think, a post somebody put up, today, and they said there was an epidemic of partially single men. That's what it is. It's like this new thing about how like these men are dating, but they're dating with somebody on the side, right? They got this girl that they're sleeping with, they're hanging out with, and then they're trying to date on top of that. I honestly have a lot of clients that do this too. And I will say, I see that a lot from my women clients too. I think that a lot of people do this. And to me, this is very common, which is like, you are talking to somebody, you have a situationship, you have somebody on the side in which you've accepted the relationship for what it is. And then at the same time, you're still seeking love from something external, right? You know that you want something deeper than what you're in, but you're sitting around with somebody that you know is not it. But at the same time, what I truly believe it is that there's this energy of wanting connection, wanting that closeness with somebody, wanting attention, not wanting to be lonely. There's so many different avenues for this, and just general connection, right? I think it is really important. I want to talk about that as well too. But for most people, it's very difficult to set a boundary with somebody in which you have nothing else on the side. I see a lot of people, when something doesn't work out for them, what they do is they hit their situationship up. Hey, what's up? I'm single. I got no one anymore. Let's hang out. Let's chill. Why is that? Because I think for most of us, it's, I don't know, maybe it just doesn't feel safe to be truly alone, right? To wake up and not text somebody, especially when, and this is where we're going to get into my situation, especially when you don't have something else. Most people are like, well, what's the difference? Who cares if I'm hanging out with somebody and sleeping with somebody? And here's the thing. There's no judgment. There's no right or wrong in this, right? There really is not. To me, I don't think that there is an appropriate way, right? I'm going to tell you from my example of what I truly believe I think is healthiest, at least from my perspective. And you guys can take it for what it is. Because again, do I think that you could potentially date somebody and meet somebody else while holding on to like a little situationship? I guess, right? And I've seen people do it. I've coached people where they have a situationship and it's like, it's, they know the deal and it's non-committal and you're just kind of like, all right, if something else comes along, see ya. But here's my thing, right? I'm somebody that truly wants to live in his truth at all times. I understand for myself personally that even if somebody's not in alignment with me, and although maybe they're not even treating me poorly, and this is what I find myself in a lot of situations, is like I date these girls in which maybe I don't feel that ultimate alignment with them, but they're showing up. They're good looking, they're supportive, they're positive. They're a lot of the things that I really care about, right? Non-negotiable wise. Those are things I really appreciate. So what's really difficult is when you meet somebody that you can kind of feel underneath that there's like a little bit of lack of alignment, but at the same time too, there's no bad vibes. Very curious situation, right? Not easy. What do? Do you tell that person to fuck off? Do you tell that person no? For a lot of people, it's no. How do we say no to that person? Right? I also, one of my good friends, she was a coach too. She was just in a marriage as well. And she's married to this guy who on paper, everything was great. Everything's good. He's wanting the relationship. She feels something's off, right? She's feeling like, I don't know, maybe he's not as vibrant or bright as I really would want him to be. But at the same time, he's still here. He's showing up. He wants to work on it with me. You know what? Let me keep going. Let me keep trying. Let me keep trying to figure this out with you. I could feel something's missing, but I'm just going to keep figuring out with you. So I think early on in their relationship, she actually, I believe cheated, which I think he ends up forgiving her. And ultimately, a couple years down the line, she finally recognizes that it's still there. That feeling, right? That feeling of like, I care about this guy, but something's off. And again, a lot of people find themselves in these situations in which they could feel something's a little bit off, but the problem is the other person, the way that they're showing up, they want it bad. They're not doing anything negative. They're not hurting you. They're actually making your life easier. How do you set a boundary and tell somebody no? Why would you set a boundary and say no? And I guess this goes down to the situationship thing too, right? With a lot of people where it's like, why would I stop talking to somebody in which they're not treating me poorly, or like there's really not this negative energy, and I can tell that they're down, they want to be here. I feel something's off, but hey, feels kind of good, doesn't it? In those little moments. But what happens? And so this is what happens to me. And I'm going to say from my personal experience. So the one girl that I met recently, right? I've honestly broken up with her like twice, but then, she forgets something at my house and, something. Oh, and just to wrap up that previous story before I get too deep, she ends up breaking up with the guy, eventually realizes this isn't what I want. I know that I want something deeper than this. And it just took her a really, really, really long time to follow that inner voice, because every single time she would bring up, that's what's funny too. It's like she would bring up things to him and be like, hey, you don't feel this? You don't realize that there's a little bit of a lack of alignment here? Doesn't feel weird to you? And he's like, no. He's like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I really care about you. No, this is what I want. And what is happening for most people is you're deferring your feelings to your partner. You're deferring what it is that you feel underneath to them. The only thing is with most people, and this could happen in a positive way or a negative way. And what happens is you lose sight of yourself. You end up agreeing to something that you don't want. Inadvertently, even though she feels like he's not being bright, she's actually the one that's people pleasing, right? She's people pleasing by staying around with somebody where she feels it's not right. And that happens, like I said, in both cases, right? Let's say you're dealing with somebody where you're not getting treated well. You could feel it underneath. And what happens? Most of my clients, I would say, turn around and ask a guy, hey, What's going on here? Do you care about me? Do you like me? Oh no, I care about you. I just don't know right now. I'm going through a lot, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what's going on. And what happens? You're sitting there, I don't know. Maybe they're down. I don't know. I got to figure out why they don't want to be here. I got to figure out their trauma. I got to understand why they're struggling to be in a relationship with me. Completely ignoring our own truth. Like I said, it happens in both directions, when you're getting treated poorly or even in situations where you're getting treated well. So I would say for me in particular, that's what ends up happening, right? Is I'm somebody that I believe has high standards. I hold myself to, almost perfectionist standards, which we're going to talk about. And the troubling part is I meet these partners that treat me well because they're showing up. I think they really want to be here. I like to believe I'm a very emotionally intelligent man. I'm confident in who I am. I got my shit together. I treat people well. I'm very honest, very authentic, very real, very sturdy in myself. So I think that could be attractive to a lot of people. So again, I meet these people in which maybe they're not matching my energy in some ways, right? And so I could feel it in my body. And that's what happened with this last girl, right? I feel it in my body. I'm like, this girl's really cool, right? My non-negotiables, true to your word, great, supportive, great, beautiful, great, right? Positive. And then the ones that I feel like when I took a look at it, right? Because I wanted to sit down and just take a look really quick where I could feel some of that offness in my stomach. Because sometimes what I realize is that my intuition is telling me something's off, but what I can do is I could align it based on the things that I value. So I look at my values and I'm like, I also want a go-getter. And I also want great banter. And I also want somebody that's developing themselves emotionally and physically. That is a non-negotiable to me. And here's the thing. This isn't to say that that person and me don't share some of those things, right? It's not like she wasn't those things. But what I would consider, and this is all things I've said to her face, swear on my life, is that I think in her life right now, and to be honest, I really shouldn't even be doing this with another human being. To be honest, what I really should be doing is just being like, hey, I don't feel this alignment, and that's it, which I have done. The problem is like the fucking, I left the thing at your house, or hey, we run into each other. All right, let's fuck. You know what I mean? It just continues, because at the end of the day, I'm not with anybody, right? I'm single. I'm doing my thing. When you see each other or she hits me up, it's pretty easy to just be like, fuck it, right? Let's chill. Let's do it. Let me finish the values thing and I'll talk about that. And I recognize that I think somebody that is going to align with me really well, and something that I truly feel is what I'm looking for, is really somebody that takes their development very seriously. This is something that's very important to me. This is my life, right? Like doing this podcast, like this is my energy. Some people have different values, right? Some people are spiritual and religious. They want people that are really into God, or they really want to start a family. There's so many different things that you could want and desire in the world. But for me and my frequency, I know that I want somebody that is going to inspire me. And the reason I say that is because I think it's in those areas that it's not every day you find that. You don't find every day somebody that's like going hard on their emotional development, on their physical development, kicking ass in their career, or just even artistically, whatever it is, creatively, it doesn't matter. And on top of that too, having that similar sense of humor where, here's the thing, I go deep into this podcast, you guys know, right? Like I'm here, I read a ton, I develop myself heavily. But then on top of it too, I have a duality. I fuck around, I bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I have this irreverent sense of humor where, I'm not just this serious guy. You know what I mean? I'm fucking around. I'm like sarcastic as shit. I'm making jokes, right? If I find somebody that's not able to vibe with that, that's also not easy for me. So my point is, I like to believe I'm a very dynamic human being. And with that being said, it's hard because I meet a lot of partners in which I find that I'm like, I enjoy this connection, but I don't feel fully seen. I don't feel fully satiated in this connection. I really don't. And that's what kind of what happened with her. And I was doing better, right? You guys know my pattern. My pattern is they hit me up and then I can't hang up the phone. I can't say no, right? And I keep them around. So that's what I did this last week. Because what ends up happening is, right, they leave this shit at your house. There's fucking heels. There's a toothbrush. There's something else. I'm pretty sure there's tampons in my fucking bathroom right now. One of my friends is over. Why do you have tampons in your guest room? I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, you have tampons in there. I was like, all right, whatever. I don't even give a fuck, to be honest. I have nothing to hide from anybody anyways. Who cares? But my point is, there's this energy where, I don't know, we keep finding each other again, and I'm struggling to say no. And here's the hard part about this too. It's complex. This is not a game or a joke. Like, I truly see myself being friends with this person after we take some time apart. She is genuinely so sweet and bubbly and a vibe, and somebody that I genuinely connect with. And that's what's interesting about it. It's the weirdest feeling to know that you can meet somebody in this world in which you have such a good vibe with and a good connection, but it still can feel like there's parts of you that don't feel seen. And it's such a difficult thing to navigate as well too, because again, like I said, single guy, no girls on the side. It's not like I'm rocking a roster. What's the harm in having some girl that's going to be over, have sex with me, make me breakfast in the morning, chillin' vibes? Like, I've told her to her face, this is all point blank serious. I can't be saying that. Well, number one, I don't lie. There's no point. But I've told her to her face, we would be laying down next to her. They said, hey, yeah, I'm not open to commitment, but I really do like you. Said it in a sentence. It's not easy to say to somebody's face that you care about a lot too. Again, you see what I'm saying? It's like, because I know how that can make her feel. I know that how she feels about me. We've had really honest conversations. I swear to God, we sat on my couch like 2 days ago and she's like, let's just put it out there. Like, I know that I like you more than you like me. We've had these very, very, very vulnerable conversations about this. And that's why I say I really appreciate her, because there's a lot of people in life you meet that you can't get to that depth. You can't be that real with. You can't. Because they're going to be so triggered. They don't know how to handle themselves. I love the people that I'm attracting in my life at this point. It really is great. And yeah, that was a tough conversation to be like, yeah, I understand that. And that's what I was telling her too. I was like, this is why we need to create space, because as much as we keep saying that we could be friends and hang out, that it doesn't feel good. And not, it doesn't feel good. Like, it feels good in the moment temporarily, but I could feel for myself energetically, something is off in my life. I swear to God, what happens? I hang out with her. We chill for a couple days. I could feel her energy of her like getting back on the hook. Right now we're texting every day. Now all of a sudden, like we're calling and voice noting and boom, boom, boom. You're right back into it. And then, I sit with it. And what's crazy is we hang out the next day, bro. I'm feeling so avoidant that I can't text her. I'm like, I'm good. I can't even respond because I know my truth. I know my truth underneath is I don't see it the same way. But now that we've just let each other back into each other's lives, what do I got to do? Break up with you again? Fuck. So, my body in a way, it reacts in that way where it's like distance and separation. And then I have to get back into my body, and then I got to communicate. Old Chris might, just run away a little bit longer, but I don't anymore. I just I tell her, I'm like, I'm feeling off. I'm being real. And I'm so in tune with my energy, and I just know, and this is why, again, I'm not judging people for holding on to situationships and holding on to people in which you feel that lack of alignment. But here's my truth on it. When something is off, it just is. Your energy is going to be off. You think that you can maintain it, but to be honest, I'm not somebody that can. I really cannot. Like, what ends up happening is after we hang out, I'm feeling this heaviness. I'm feeling this heaviness in my chest, in my stomach. I'm sitting on my couch over the weekends, and I'm not motivated to do the things that I was doing. I was making videos, feeling creative, doing all this shit. And I'm like, what's going on? I literally, I'm asking myself, I'm like, I'm trying to get back to my good habits. I'm eating healthy. I'm trying to go to bed on time. I'm still waking up and I'm feeling restless. I'm like, why am I feeling stressed out when nothing in my life is off? And then I sit with myself, and you know what I do? I end up journaling. I start journaling. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, I don't want to blame the relationship because like I've told her my truth and she knows the deal and it's not a big deal, right? It's not a big deal. I keep trying to rationalize it to myself. It's not that. It can't be that. But my body's like, Chris, why are you spending time with somebody? You know that it's not it for you. And it's weird. It's like, I feel that it's not it, but then at the same time, what happens? My ego is starting to rationalize, oh, but maybe it's just your avoidance, Chris. Just maybe you're looking for perfect too much. And we're going to get into this in a second. And so, you know, you're confused. It's hard. Again, intuitively, what is my body telling me? Intuitively, my body's saying there's heaviness here. Where are you suppressing yourself? That's a good question that you should ask yourself. So when you're journaling, one question, when you're feeling heavy, right? Ask yourself, where am I suppressing my most vulnerable self? Where am I suppressing my most vulnerable self? Because to me, that is where the pressure builds up and you don't feel good. You will not feel alignment. If you don't feel alignment, you will not feel peace. It's that simple. So at all times, what you are trying to do is constantly right your ship to alignment, right? At each moment of the day, in each week of the year, in each month of the year, each year, all you're trying to do is align. That's how I look at it for myself. Each moment, do the things that are inspiring to me. Where are the places where I'm not doing things that are aligned with my deepest self? And I'm telling you, you're going to find a lot of answers there because I'm telling you, there's so much fucking peace here. So much. I'm telling you, now that I've had this conversation, I'm going to do a little fast forward, ended up telling her the truth, opening up this really vulnerable conversation, ending it again. But finally, we removed each other off social media. I told her, I was like, this is it. Like, we got to stop. Even though, she was over here. And then I'm like, all right, get your stuff upstairs. Next thing you know, boom, fuck. We start banging. I'm literally like, no. Next thing you know, bro, doggy style, It's crazy. You guys know how it goes. Like that final bang, like, see you later. Like, that's what's hard too, right? The sex is fire. Hey, it's easy. It's easy. But yeah, but now the last 2 days, all of a sudden my energy is back. It's like, what? Why? The reason is because I was honest. I stopped suppressing myself. I told my truth, even though it was hard. It was hard because why? I know that this truth might hurt her. It's true. But I also understand I'm not responsible for the way that she feels. It's so hard, right? I'm a good guy. I'm a empathetic person. We're all empathetic, And that's the excuse for most people, but I care so much. I care about her too. But here's the thing. The most loving thing that I can do for her in this moment is tell her my truth. If she's not my long-term thing, I got to be honest. I can't sit here and lie because I'm living in a lie. That's what I'm saying. I'm living in a suppression of my real truth by spending time with her, even though it's good, even though it's actually honest on the surface. That's what's crazy. On the surface, I've told her I don't want commitment, right? Everybody's like, well, then you're good, right? My body knows. My body knows. Energetically, that's not what I want. I want ultimate alignment in my life. And so what that means is I want to be spending my time at all times in a way that is for my deepest purpose. At all times. I want a deep relationship. I want a deep love. I want a career that is built off of who I am, off of what drives me, off my passion, off my deep love. I love this shit. Love. And that's the way I want to live in all areas of my life, relationships, career, friendships. If I don't love it, I don't want it. That's simple. Why would I accept less? I'm done doing that forever. Swear. Long story short, so we bang. Tell her my truth. And yeah, that's that. We haven't talked since, right? And again, I'm going against my pattern. My pattern is keep, letting the door cracked open. Just crack it open. Just leave it, right? Because what? It's a safety net. It feels nice. And honestly, of course, there's confusion. There's confusion, right? Oh, am I avoidant? Am I pushing away something good? Am I making the right move? That's everybody, right? Because we have no self-trust, right? We don't trust our intuition. That's what I'm trying to say. My intuition is bond, is gold. Your intuition, what you feel in your stomach, that's all that matters. What you feel in your chest, that's all that matters. What you're thinking in your head, irrelevant. Irrelevant. You're going to ping pong all day long. Life is a series of imperfect choices. You have to understand that. If you think that you're going to think yourself into solutions for anything, you're not. Because you're going to waste a whole fuck ton of time. Here's the thing. I don't know for a fact if I let go of the love of my life. I don't really know. If I feel it later that I feel that I love her, guess what I can do? Hey, what's going on? I've been thinking about you, or I've been feeling that I miss you and that I made a mistake. Are you still available? I can do that later down the road if I feel that way. Now, is it up to her to accept that energy or not? For sure. Now, am I anticipating that that's what's going to happen? No. Because what happens every single time you truly follow your intuition? I mean, seriously, ask yourself this right now. Any single time you followed your gut on something, has it led you the wrong way? Really? Be so fucking for real. So that's the hard part, right? Again, is this self-trust. I'm sitting there. Now, the next day, I'm reading about contemplation. And so I've been reading a lot about consciousness and the self. We don't need to get into that because, to be honest, that's just too deep for this conversation. Just know that I'm in the fucking game. Let's just say that. So I'm learning about my deep-rooted patterns, assumptions, subconscious or unconscious beliefs, right, that are driving me. And I'm learning to get deeper. And that's what this work is about in general, right? Again, you have a reaction on the surface. For me, it's breaking up with this girl. And then underneath, what is happening is there's an underlying belief that is controlling my behavior. Let's make it very simple. So what I then do, so after I break up this girl, I'm like, okay, I feel good, but I still want to understand, right? Because I look at my patterns of my relationship and I'm like, why do I always have this very strong reaction when sometimes these people get close to me, that I need to get away, that I don't want to give commitment? I'm avoidant, right? That's my pattern. So I got into a really deep 30-minute meditation, and you have to experience these things for yourself. I just gave this to one of my clients too. She had a very strong reaction about this guy that she misses, and I wanted her to do a deep contemplation meditation on why that's happening for her. Because if you could sit with yourself long enough in silence, you could usually get to an answer and to a root belief of why you do the things that you do. So I sat in my bed, complete quiet. I don't like pillows. Today I use the pillow, but normally I go flat on my bed, completely still. I'm down like a rock. Boom. Breathe. Dead silence. Dead silence. And I contemplate. And contemplation, what you're trying to do is you're trying to focus on and bring your awareness to your experience of why you do the things that you do in your life. So you need to center it around a question. So you need to question yourself. So what I did is I sat down and I said, okay, Chris, why did you have such a strong reaction to not wanting to give her commitment? And it's something that you tend to do in a lot of your relationships. So what is that about? And I sit there and I feel. And I keep my awareness and my focus on it. Okay, why do I do that? Why do I do that? Why do I create separation? And why didn't I give her commitment? Why did I have such an adverse reaction to her energy? and availability into my life. And then I was like, I feel like I'm going to be engulfed. I was like, why do I feel like I'm being engulfed? And then I was like, I got this feeling, and I was like, I want to be distinct. I was like, I want to be distinct. I was like, what does that mean? I was like, I want to be distinct. What does that mean? Why do I want to be distinct? What is distinct? I want to be separate. Okay, that makes sense, right? It's going in alignment with like the commitment thing. So I'm like, again, I'm feeling all of this. I'm not thinking it in my brain. I know it sounds really weird. I'm experiencing it in my body. And I'm feeling for the answer, right? I feel a lot of my answers in my stomach. And I'm like, all right, so I want to be distinct. Why do I want to be distinct? And then this thought came to me, or this feeling. It was like, because who you are is what you do. Who you are is what you do. So what I guess I'm feeling is that I want to be distinct from her because she is who I am. Essentially, what I guess I was getting to the root of was like, I want separation from these people, and I'm reacting in this way because I don't want my identity to be caught up with hers, which makes sense. It's almost like this feeling that commitment to me feels like you become part of my identity. And because I'm avoidance, like I want to keep that separation. I don't want to identify with this relationship. And so then I was asking myself even deeper. I was like, why don't I want to identify with this relationship? And I swear to God, this feeling came to me. And there's no judgment here. And I want to make this really important distinction. When you're doing this contemplation, you need to have openness. You need to have non-judgment, because it's the only way that you're going to get to your truth. So you can't judge yourself. And the reason I'm prefacing this is because I'm going to say something out loud, and I want you to understand why you can't have judgment, because it's the only way you're going to get to the root of your true feelings and your true reactions. And I was like, the reason I want to be distinct is because, right, it's like who I am is what I do. So I don't want to mix those two. Why don't I want to mix those two? And I don't want to commit because she's not perfect like you are. Swear to God, my body said that. She's not perfect like you are. And I was like, whoa. Non-judgment, right? Non-judgment. And so in that moment, I realized, I was like, oh shit. I think a lot of the reasons that I run away from commitment is I feel that person is not matching the energy that I have about myself. And you guys know, like, and again, what I need to do even further is get to this contemplation of like, what is perfect? What does that even mean? But there's so many like things that came from this statement that I said to, like, that I felt in my body. The first thing was like, oh shit, this is why I push a lot of people away. It's almost like I feel that number one, I don't have control over them, which is really difficult, right? I don't have control over her behavior. I don't have control over the way she shows up. So if I have no control over her, how can I make sure that she's going to be perfect? I can't. Second part is, people are imperfect. Love is imperfect. How can I be in a relationship if every single time I'm looking at somebody and I'm reacting in a way that's like that, where it's like I have these standards of perfection? Because you want to know the truth is, it's rooted in myself. I want to be perfect. And this is what I need to really step into and understand. What is perfect? Why do I feel the need to be perfect? What's the point of that for me? But again, I have this reaction and I'm like, oh shit. Like, again, the reason I'm pushing this person away is because I feel that, yeah, she's not perfect. And that does make a lot of sense, right? Because if you think about it, I told you guys, right? I have these high standards, and all this energy like for my life. And it's interesting because I've never really found somebody that could match that. But when you think about commitment and love, ultimately there's a level of compromise in some sense, right? So that's what's really, and this is all hitting me. I'm like, holy fuck, I didn't even realize this. I had this reaction more for that than just the fact that maybe she's not enough, right? Maybe on the surface, it feels like that. And you know what's funny? You want to know the complaint that every single, or the response that I get from every single person I've ever dated? Take a guess at what they feel. Every single girl I've ever dated, they have said these words to me. I just feel like everything I do is not enough. Crazy. And so I also want to point out something that's really important as well, right? And if you are somebody that has felt like that in a relationship to an avoidant person, this is why it's not personal. Their own lack of acceptance and standards that they have for themselves are being pushed onto you. And maybe they have standards in which you will never meet. And I guess this is what internally I have to sort out, right? Is like, where is that line? It's okay to have high standards and to really push yourself. But at what point is it impossible? There is a line of diminishing returns where if you are so hard on yourself and you're expecting perfection from yourself so much, you're going to deteriorate things. Your performance, your relationships, your self-worth. And think about, again, we've talked about my past lineage as a human being, right? This idea of like, I needed everything in my life to be on point. Fitness, emotional health, finances. I gotta fuck good. I gotta look good. You know? Everything's gotta be on point. But because I have these standards for myself, what ends up happening? I then push these on the other people. And because I don't even reach my own standards, how is somebody else going to reach the standards that I have for myself? And on top of that, I have no control over them. My point about people, if you date somebody that's like this, understand that, again, everybody has their own stuff. We talked about everybody being a mirror as well. It's not as personal as sometimes you think it is. It's not that this girl that I've just dated was unworthy. It's that I have these standards that I have for myself internally that I feel that she is not on the same page with me about. And because I feel no sense of control in a relationship, because I feel like I identify with the relationship when you commit to somebody, I'm not going to give anybody commitment. I guess the only person that I'd be able to commit to is somebody in which I felt was, I guess, super aligned to me or has even higher standards than I do. I don't know. But I thought that realization was so deep and so interesting. And yeah, like I said, I think for me personally, it's like, I'm going to have to get to the root of like what I think is perfect. I've been, to be honest though, I see myself as I've gotten older and I'm stepping more into my own development. I am starting to realize though, it's like I'm getting so much better with accepting myself about being less perfect, but it still flares up. I mean, I swear to God, I'll wake up and if my hair isn't right, I'll sit there for an hour and a half. Boom, every little fucking tiny piece, every little tiny piece. You know how many times I did my hair today? I think 3 times. Swear to God, before this podcast, I didn't start this podcast for almost an hour and a half because I didn't get my hair right. And you guys wouldn't even see that. Because again, it's, you're not in the room with me at all times. But I mean, and I think this is why, again, avoidance are avoidance, right? Maybe there's parts of you that doesn't feel like you can have that wiggle room and that you don't. And then sometimes, again, it's that lack internally that you might feel like you need to have all these standards in which to receive, right? All this earning, right? But because maybe, again, there was maybe some conditional love in my life. Or maybe I just felt that everything was always on my shoulders. I took responsibility for everything in my life. So yeah, right? And now I have these crazy standards, but now on top of it, it's very hard for me to commit to somebody. So there's a lot there to unpack and explore. And here's the thing though, right? I reflect this back to my friend, Jay, actually. And he talks about how, the flip side of the coin is this, though. Yes, I definitely deal with perfectionism, and that is very difficult, but I am also a person that is different than the status quo, right? I do push myself and I commit to myself in a way that other people don't. And he reminded me of that. And he said, listen, Chris, I get that. But also don't forget that he didn't really want to say it, but in a weird way, he's like, you are special. And that's the hard part about this, is that I think it is going to take a very unique and special person to match my energy, right? To align with me truly on these things. Now, do I need to be able to allow less perfectionism in my life? Yes. Do I need to understand that love is imperfect and start to fall in love with the imperfections of a person? Definitely. 1000%. But on the other side of the coin, I do hold myself to a high standard. I do appreciate my energy, my drive. And that also is important too. And I can't lie to my intuition. And that's the important part here. It's like, yes, did I get down and do this discovery about how, again, the reason that I had that reaction was because of this energy, but it tells the story perfectly, which is like, hey, this person's great, but she's not matching you in the places that make you you. So like I said, it's a combination of my own work and a misalignment. So let's go to, one last comment on that. Here's the thing. There's no perfect line for high standards versus settling. You know what I mean? With somebody. Think about the word, like a relationship, just like the idea of settling. For somebody that is such a perfectionist and has such high standards, that and settling don't coincide very well. You see what I'm saying? The reason I haven't been in relationships my whole life is not just because I'm just an avoidant asshole. It's also partially because I am on a different track, right? Most people stayed in corporate. I said, fuck that, I'm leaving. Like I said, I do the things that I want to do. Deep love. If I'm not in deep love with it, I ain't doing it. I ain't. But see, here's the thing, and I think for every single person listening to this, right? You got to have no judgment to this. And even for yourself. And what I want you to also understand too is the line is yours to create. It's not, no one's going to tell you whether or not your standards are too high or not. What you need to do for yourself is feel it and experience it. The reality is there's no perfect, here you go, right? There's no perfect line. Right? Who's to say, Chris, you're just trying to be too perfect, or hey, Chris, your standards are high, so let go of that girl. Fuck it. What are you holding on to a girl that doesn't align with you? Which side is right? Is there a right side or a wrong side? No. Who determines what is right? You do. And that's what I recognize for myself. I have to experience it myself. I have to understand, hey, where's that line for me? Does this feel good? Do I feel enough alignment here? Hey, am I being too perfect on this? Or or is it good enough? Am I in that place, in that zone, right? So again, that's something that I need to keep exploring for myself and keep discovering for myself. Am I being too picky? Or hey, are my standards really just right? And we don't have that alignment. So let me take you to the story of the car. So yesterday, and I'll tell you how this all coincides. I played flag football. I go into this car. Me and my two of the friends on the team, we go and we smoke a joint in the car together. And so we're just chopping it up. We're having man talk. I really love these moments. I don't have these moments a lot in my life, but it's so important. If you're a guy, you got to have that guy time. That man talk is so fucking, oh my God, it's healing as fuck. Like girls do it a lot. Guys, we sometimes don't think about that, but those really vulnerable conversation with your boys is critical. And that's what I'm saying. This happened after a flag football. We didn't plan this. It just happened. But we go in the car, and so my boy recently got engaged. And I want to just tell his story a little bit because I think sometimes people feel like this love isn't out there anymore. But So one of my friends, he just got engaged because I congratulated him on his like engagement. I saw the pictures on Instagram, and he's in the front. My other boy's in the back, and he's starting to show us pictures. He's so excited. He's got the videos, bro. He first off told his girl he got her girl's parents like blessing like 8 months ago or some shit. Then 3 months ago, 4 months ago, he planned this with his boss, and he told his boss to text him and tell him that he's throwing a party up in like northern Arizona at this specific date. So he sets up this whole fucking plan to surprise his girl for this engagement. She's thinking that she's going up to meet with him and his friends and his boys, and they're all gonna like hang out together. He goes 2 weeks before, plans the exact spot. His cousin gets in a fucking, I want to say like a ghillie suit, like a fucking, how do you say it? Like he's dressed up like he's going hunting to go pick out the perfect spot for photography and videography. And they're planning the craziest. He has his whole fucking elaborate plan. So he's showing us the videos. He's showing us the setup. He's showing us all the text like of him like surprising his girl. So anyways, he does this thing. He's telling us this story about this engagement, and he shows us the video, her being shocked and surprised. He's like, look over there. He pulls out the ring, proposes to her. She's freaking the fuck out. His cousin jumps out. Next thing you know, they FaceTime her parents. Her parents are at home. They live in another state, and all of her friends. So then they celebrate, and then the next day they drive back down to the city. He gets all of her friends and her family to meet up for a private dinner and to fly in the next day to surprise her. He then is like, because she doesn't think that she's just like, oh, okay, like all my friends and my family will just see them like for Christmas, all this kind of shit. So she doesn't know. So now she's surprised on the engagement. She has this great night with him. She comes back down to Phoenix, and he has this whole fucking engagement party where he surprises her. All of her friends flew in. All of her family flew in. This motherfucker planned it, went crazy. My whole point is that type of love exists. You know what I mean? It's real. There's a storybook love out there. And when he was telling me this story and he's like all giddy about it and he's just like all excited, I'm like, damn, like this shit is crazy. Like, a lot of people really believe that like that doesn't exist. Like it does. It's out there. So he's showing us in the car. He's all excited. He's telling his boys. He's like, yeah, bro, she's the fucking one. I fucking love this girl. Like she's just so amazing. But yeah, shows us all the fucking videos. I then tell him my story. He's like, oh, so like, what's good with you? I was like, oh, I just like broke up with this girl. I was like, damn, man. I was like, to be honest, I really struggle with commitment. You seem like you've kind of got it down. I then told him about the body reflection that I just told you guys about, right? How like, sometimes I feel like the person that I'm dating is part of my identity, and it's hard because, I have these standards. And then the guy in the back asked him, and he's like, yeah, that's really true. I feel that way too. He's like, do you feel like that? And he asked the guy in the front, the guy who just got engaged. And he's like, yeah, actually, I do feel like that. But he's like, you want to know what? He's like, I feel like the girl I just engaged to is better than me. I truly feel that I found somebody that I really respect and inspire that much. And I was like, damn. What hit me in that moment was like, oh shit. He's like, Chris, you know what? I do have those same feelings, but I actually do just feel that inspired by this girl. And that made me feel like so much more grounded because I was like, I'm not fucking crazy. I'm not crazy. Like, and that's what I told him too. I was like, to be honest, I want to be inspired by the person I date. Like, it's cool when you meet somebody and like, I don't know, like they're supportive and they're beautiful and they have a lot of the qualities that you want. But I just feel like I'm going to know. And that's what he said. He's like, we were making fun of him because actually before he met her, he went on 6 dates in a row, 6 nights in a row. I don't know if she knows that. Hopefully I'm not putting him on blast. But he did 6 dates, 6 nights in a row. And she was actually the first one. But he was like, I just knew it was always her. He's like, I hung out with all those other people and I just knew. And that's the thing is like in my life personally, it's like, I feel like I've never really found that in a person just yet. Every single person, and not to sound fucked up, but every single person I've dated, I feel like I've had little moments of that, but I don't think I've had this feeling of like, nah, like that's it. Like I want to be here. I'm inspired to be here. Fuck yeah. And I guess this is a roundabout way of me saying like, fuck it. I got my standards. I got my intuition. You have yours. Trust it. Trust it. That should be the feeling. I mean, look at what he's doing, right? He's doing the most. Like that's the kind of romantic love that I want to give somebody. I do. I am willing to show up like that. I genuinely, like, I want to write you love letters. I want to fucking do the most for you. I want to put you on a pedestal. I would easily post you every fucking day of my life. That's facts. If I truly felt that way. So, cheers to finding that kind of love and also believing and knowing that it does exist and it is out there. And what I've realized too is that this is why you have to trust your intuition and your gut, and you have to set these boundaries. You have that bullshit situationship, or you have that person that's really nice and kind and they want the relationship with you, but you know that you're not feeling it as much as they are. Let them go. Let all of that go. You don't need to hold on to that energy. Believe. There is true love out there. And so my boy in the back, I mean, he's a whole nother story. He's like, he's dating some girl long distance. I feel like he knows in the back of his mind that he maybe feels some type of way about it. He's not being honest with her. They're not even, I don't know. I don't want to like even dive deep into his story. All I want to say is you could tell the people that are not being vulnerable in their connections. You could. When you guys are not talking about shit, you guys are not being honest, you're not being real about how you genuinely feel, you can't break up with each other, even though you know something feels off. Like, my whole point is you're wasting your own time. You are. And that's what I recognize for myself and my own energy in this relationship. Is like, you are an amazing person and I'm going to be friends with you in the future. I know that for a fact. Like, she is so cool that I know when we take an appropriate amount of time away from each other, that there will come a day where we are going to be cool and we're going to be friends and we're going to be homies. But the truth is like, if I don't have that romantic inspiration and spark and feeling, I got to set a boundary. I can't just keep fucking around, having sex, having you make breakfast. Yeah, life is easy when you're in it and I have connection and I don't feel as lonely sometimes. But that's the cost of finding genuine love. The cost of finding genuine love is discipline to the love that you want and not deviating from that. Like I said, can it be a little imperfect? Yeah. Can I hang out with her, sleep with her a couple times, go back a few times? Sure. That's part of life. We're human, right? Like, yeah, I'm going to have my moments of weakness for sure. But it's just like a good diet, right? You don't need to be 100%. You just got to be 80 or 90. Just be 80 or 90. Right? Like, unintentional connections, 5 to 10%. Intentional connections, 90%. That's what we need to rock. If you could do that in your life, eventually you will get to that person. You will. You got to trust that. All right. Let's quickly get into the single and healed. I know we spent a lot of time on that, but I think that was really powerful. And it's the last episode of the year, baby. Come on, rock with me. Rock with me. Give me an extra 10 right now. Okay. Because this is a major topic as well, too. It really is. Oh, where's the prompt? Because I want to tell you the exact prompt. Okay. She said, I'm begging. I'm begging you to do a podcast episode on I'm single and healed, but now I feel like I don't want anyone. Okay. Let me attack this because here's what's interesting. And this is really in alignment with what we're talking about, is it not? Right? It's like, if you're single and healed, to me, what that means is You're secure in yourself. You're comfortable with your own energy. You love what you're doing. You love what you're doing. You're not holding on to unintentional connections, right? To me, that is single and healed. Let's call it. Although I don't think there's a perfect healed, right? I don't think anybody is fully healed, because there's always going to be reactions and behaviors that you could explore deeper. Facts. Like even me, you know what I'm saying? I do this for a fucking living. Not even for a living, for my life's work. And I still feel that way every single week, every single day. But here's the thing. I understand not, feeling like no one's worth your energy. I get that. I'm sitting here. I just explained why, right? It's not easy to find somebody that is in alignment. But actually, this is exactly what I said yesterday to myself. I'm driving, I'm leaving, and I said to myself, you know what, Chris? It's good you set that boundary. And you know what? It's just not easy to find somebody aligned with you. That's what it is. You know what I did? I stopped myself in that moment and I said, you know what? Bullshit. That's a limiting belief. Why do I keep putting this energy out there that it's hard to find somebody in alignment? All I'm doing is blocking my own abundance. So what I want to do is I want to rewire some things for people that say this. Because you know what I've been seeing a lot lately is people that just write off dating entirely. They're like, I'm done with dating. I don't need to date anymore. I'm good. To me, that's a wall. You're blocking your potential blessings. You're blocking abundance. Because I truly believe that most of us deep down underneath want love. Now, here's the thing. Are you going to find somebody that you want to commit to immediately? Maybe not. But if you were truly singled and healed, you wouldn't pass a judgment on dating as a whole. Hopefully that makes sense. My whole thing is this, right? I'm quote unquote single and healed, but this is the way that I see dating. I'm not forcing it. I'm not going out of my way for something that doesn't feel in alignment. Fair. But to say that I wouldn't take a chance with somebody that I found attractive, to say that I'm just going to write off dating entirely, that, oh, I'm just so healed that I just fuck dating. You're not healed then. Because what's that showing to me is that you have walls up. You're not allowing yourself to allow something into your life to take a risk. A lot of people use this single and healed thing as a way to hold up walls. And this is what I was talking about before, about the inauthenticity. Because most people that say they're single and healed and they don't give a fuck, guess what? I guarantee you, if you found somebody attractive that came into your life, you'd be curious. You'd be curious. But if you have this energy of lack, or if you have this energy that no one can match you, if you have this energy that no one can meet you where you are, what are you going to find in the world? That energy, that exact frequency. You see what I'm saying? Like, to me, these are people where we're going way too far. We're not allowing ourselves to connect. Like, even for me, hey, I have these perfectionist standards. I have these high standards. Guess what? I am way open to dating. Open as fuck. Guess what? And this is real. I'm not making this up. I love dating. I love it. I love flirting. I love meeting new people. I love connecting with people. I love it. That's a genuine sense of love. Love. Hi. The people that hate dating blow my mind. You know what it is? The people that hate dating have expectations of a result that they're not receiving. This is why you don't like dating. Because dating for you is about the result. It's not about the experience. It's not about you connecting with a person and just meeting somebody. Here's the thing. We're looking for alignment. Have fun with that. Have fun with that. That should be a good time. I get to meet a brand new girl or try to flirt with a new girl, take her on a date, have a vibe, have a good conversation. Hey, if we're not in alignment, guess what? I'll tell you honestly and we'll get on our way. Cool beans. Good vibes. Hey, at least I got to experience you. At least I got to hang out with you. At least I got to connect with somebody new and discover something more that I might like. Dating should be fun. But a lot of people look at dating like a job. Because guess what they're doing? They're doing it for the result. Why do you think most people have a job and not a career in which they love? Why do you think that is? Oh, I gotta make money. It's for the result. Oh, I'm poor. I need money. That's why I'm working this job I hate, because I need money. Oh, this is why dating sucks. It's because no one actually commits to me. Because it's about the end goal. It's about the result. You're not aligning yourself to people and experiences that you actually enjoy. You could be single and healed and be living your life. Enjoy it. Vibe. I vibe by myself all the time. I go to bed by myself. I wake up to no text messages. I got no roster. None of that. Cut it out. But if I find somebody that I have interest with, I'm not going to be like, blah, blah. I'm single and healed. Get the fuck out of my face. You're not healed if that's how you feel. Because what that's showing me is that you can't allow yourself to take a risk. That actually means you are living with fear. You're living with fear based on somebody coming into your life and engulfing you. What that means is you don't trust your own boundaries. What that means is you don't trust your own self. That's what that means. People that say they hate dating are people that don't trust themselves. That's a fact. Well, technically it's an opinion because it's a belief. But according to I like to think big brain, which also opinion, I think it's a fact. Because my whole thing is, how is it not enjoyable to meet somebody new and to vibe? The only reason it wouldn't be is because your expectations keep getting shattered, which means that you're dating the wrong way. You're not dating to connect to people and look for alignment and be your most vulnerable self. You're connecting for the result. You're connecting because you feel that you need to be in a relationship in order to show other people that you're happy, or to just have connection because you're unhappy with yourself. So pick one of the two, because it's one of the two. Because you would have no ill feelings toward the process of finding love if you were in love with the process of finding love. And understand that it's not about the end goal of it. You're going to get into a relationship, and guess what? Things can change. That's what people don't even get to. It's like, it's crazy to me. It's like, is the only standard for dating being good you meeting your husband and your wife immediately? Is that it? You realize that you could meet somebody today, be in love, have a good vibe, and one of you fall out of love, or one of you grow in a different direction. What are you going to do? Hold on to this idea that life needs to be lived in this one way, and that if it isn't like this, then it sucks. Dating sucks. They broke up with me. Dating sucks. They ghosted me. Dating sucks. That's part of the experience, baby. Some days I post a video that I love, and guess what? Nobody fucking likes it. But do I do it for the result? No, I do it because I love to make videos. Do you see the difference? My whole thing is this goes back to, you got to go with the flow of life. You're going to meet people. Why can't you just enjoy and value the fact that you had the time that you did with somebody? Why can't you just enjoy the fact that you're getting to know people, and that part of getting to know people, guess what? There's pain involved. Right? Part of putting yourself out there and meeting people, guess what? There's joy and there's pain. There's pleasure and there's pain. But that's part of the experience of life. Vibe with it. Enjoy it. Start to love it. Right? I get wanting to have your own peace on your own. But again, all you're doing is you're living in a bubble. To me, like that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, yeah, you could vibe like that. And that's what I'm doing, right? It's like, I'm in my own energy. Like I understand the sentiment, right? I get it. Like I get people not wanting to like engage in dating for a little bit, or even for long stretches of time. You don't want to, you don't have to. But my whole thing is like, why does there need to be rules? Like I told one of my clients the other day, he's like, oh, I just think I'm done with dating right now. The only reason he's saying that is because he feels like he's had negative outcomes with it. He's not looking at it in the sense of like, oh, wow, like I could potentially meet my person. Oh, wow. Like, hey, yeah, these people didn't work out in my past, but look at all these potential opportunities. Abundance. It's abundance versus scarcity. Right here. We're seeing it in real time. You either have a scarcity mindset that you can't find what you're looking for, and that dating sucks, and that no one's out there, or you could have an abundance mindset, which is every single person I meet gets me that much closer to the person that I'm supposed to be with. Every single person I meet is fun. It's awesome meeting somebody and connecting and having a good time. You never know where it's going to go. I get to show myself to somebody and practice being my vulnerable self. And guess what? I have the possibility of meeting somebody and maybe it going the distance, which is really cool. But I'm not tied to that because life is not about the end result. Because you know how many people just get married for the result? Let me ask you this question. The people that you know personally that are in relationships or are married right now, are they super happy and at peace because they're in a relationship and because they're married? Answer that question. I would find that most people, honestly, because this is the reason I have the opportunity to help people that I do, it's because a lot of people are unhappy with that. Because again, they're chasing results, they're chasing outcomes. That's what I'm saying. A person could have a whole ass wedding and still be unhappy as fuck. Because it's not about that. And even the person that's single and healed and is not dating anybody, yeah, maybe you're feeling pretty good on your own, but you know that underlying tension in the background of like, would be nice to connect with somebody. I feel it, right? I feel it. It's nice to have somebody in your life. It would be cool to have a partner. But here's the kicker is, my whole point is this. There shouldn't be rules. There shouldn't be dating sucks. I'm not dating at all. Fuck dating, writing it off. Why? That's self-protection. That's self-preservation. That's not openness. That's not love. That's fear. Openness and love is, hey, I'm single and I'm enjoying my time. I'm enjoying my time on my own. And if the right one comes along, I'm going to take a chance. And until then, guess what? I'm going to enjoy, I'm going to vibe. And I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to write off dating. I'm not going to shut down opportunities that might be potentially good. I'm going to meet people. I'm going to connect with people. If I feel that we're out of alignment or I'm being dismissed, I'm going to set a boundary. I'm going to trust myself to trust my intuition and my gut that if something feels off, I'm going to share it. I'm going to say it. That's why dating feels so fun to me, is because I know that I have nothing to worry about. If something doesn't feel like an alignment, all right, then I'm going to set a boundary. Yeah, is it going to be painful for a second? Probably. But do I then get the joy of connecting with people? Definitely. So I hate the writing off dating bullshit lately. It's really, but I do get being on your own and enjoying that vibe. I mean, that's where I am right now. I'm in a season of growth, right? I'm learning a lot. I'm growing a lot. I'm moving very fast. This is also why my values of self-development are so critical, because at the pace that I'm moving and that I'm growing, I also need somebody that's on that same frequency. I do. So, but what I got to trust is that if that person is meant to find me at this season of my life, they will. And guess what? If they're not, that's also okay. I have no problem being on my own. I have no problem being in a relationship. And that's the perspective and the perception that I want you guys to have is, can you be grounded in being single and alone and be truly at peace? And can you be open to connection and take the risk? And guess what? When you're in a connection, be peaceful and loving and open, even in that realm. That's what we're trying to create. Because that, to me, is when you really, truly find the things that are really meant for you and true alignment. Openness, vulnerability, honesty, paying attention to your intuition. All right, guys. Happy New Year. I love you guys. Happy holidays. Enjoy the holidays with your family. If you ever want to work with me, you know where to find me. I would love to help you on your dating journey, just on your self-worth journey. That's what it comes down to. Helping you with your inner beliefs, helping you overcome your inner fears with your life, helping you find peace. And the big thing too is like, cut out the overthinking. You should not be living a life with anxiety. You should not be living a life where you are high strung. You should not be living a life in which you can't sit down for 2 seconds because you feel like you always need to be doing something. You are operating in survival and you have no idea. And so it's about taking you out of that. It's about understanding your values, about grounding you. And then again, finding people and relationships, friendships, romantic relationships that align with your deepest self. But you got to get to know your deepest self first. All right. Fuck. I'm going to miss you guys. Fuck. I almost like don't want it to end. All right. Peace out.